Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, many stories are told about the particular units, the massive armies that fought out here. Did you know there's a lot of stories also about premonitions? People predicting their own death out here? Usually one or two stories come to mind that people talk about because they're the most famous or the most popular stories. And today we're going to share a story with you of a captain that knew he was going to die here at Little Round Top. Three captains were gathered together of the 44th New York, and Lucius Sherman Larrabee was one of them. And they were making small talk before they got their orders to go into battle out here. And as they're making small talk, Lucius has a premonition. It hits him like a bolt of lightning. And he looks very seriously at his other two co-leaders out here on the field. And he asks them, seriously, if they would take his items from him and keep them safe, because he had a feeling he was going to die here on this field. Now, he'd kind of had that premonition since his last real battle, which was at Chancellorsville, and he had spoken often about it, but people back in those days didn't take it serious because you're at war. Your odds of dying are pretty good. And even the captains that day told him, hey, look, keep your stuff. We all have the same odds of dying on this field. We'd hate for your stuff to be with us if we died too. So he had to find another way. Now, Captains William Bourne and Ben Kimberly refused to take the man's items. They again insisted, we all got the same odds of dying out here. Keep your stuff, Lucius. Lucius, being extremely desperate, decides he's going to find the quartermaster. And he does. He has a conversation with the quartermaster. The quartermaster is relatively safe. He's back with the wagons issuing out guns, ammunition, equipment, clothes. And he tells him of his premonition and lets him know that he thinks he's going to die and he wants his items sent home. Quartermaster has sympathy this time with him, unlike his co-captains, and he holds on to his items. And then Lucius goes into battle here at Little Round Top. Before the war, Lucius was fairly nomadic. His mother died at the age of 3, when he was at the age of 3. And he had to move in with his sister at the age of 5. He moved from Oneida up to Albany when he made that move. And then a few short years later, he ends up in Chicago, living with his brother who's 12 years older than him at the age of 15. So the man's had a pretty rough life for being only 25 and not really having his parents to watch after him and having to run around from place to place to find a place to live. So you can say he was truly a nomad. But then he gets to Chicago and he finds his calling. And his calling just happens to be with Elmer Ellsworth. In 1859, he joins the Zouaves Cadets, led by Elmer Ellsworth. Now, Ellsworth's fame is in Alexandria, Virginia, where he climbs up to the top of a hotel and he yanks down a rebel flag. And by the time he gets down to the bottom of the stairwell, he becomes one of the first real casualties of the war when he takes a rebel civilian bullet to the chest. Ellsworth inspires the 44th New York's coming together. And they're the reason why that unit turns into what it is, really. In 1861, that first unit that he's with is the 11th New York, and he joins as a first lieutenant. Later on, the 11th New York is rolled into the 44th New York as Company B, and in Company B, he rises to the rank of captain, and he ends up out here on this field at Gettysburg, at Little Round Top. Now, if you come out to Little Round Top, and you're looking for 44th New York, you can't miss it. It's the thing that looks like a castle on top of Little Round Top. It's quite large. 44th played a crucial role out here, and they wanted to make sure everybody knew it. The monument is outstanding, and you can climb to the top and get a better view of everything down below from that monument. And there's really no better place to tell the story with the battle orientation than right here on top of this monument. Now, for orientation, off down in this direction over here is where the 20th Maine is. The 20th Maine kind of angles down this way and then back like this. Then coming back up in this position over here is the 83rd Pennsylvania. Swinging back in this direction where I'm at right now is the 44th New York. Then the 16th Michigan is off in this direction over here, followed by the 140th New York, the 91st Pennsylvania, the 146th New York, who we talked about in an earlier video, 155th Pennsylvania. And they're all looping back around this direction over here on the top of Little Round Top. And from up here, you can clearly see that outcropping of rocks. That's Devil's Den for a reference. The slaughter pen runs down through here. And then the fields that the Confederates are traversing are from across there. You see that tree line off in the distance. They're coming out of that tree line and they're making their way over here. And off in this wooded lot is where 47th Alabama and the 15th Alabama under law are actually coming up this direction. And then you have the 4th Alabama rolling up through here. The 5th Texas, 4th Texas, 48th Alabama, and 44th are off in this direction and then kind of swinging this way as they're coming up towards Hawks Ridge and Devil's Den. Now, Lucius would fight in virtually every major battle along the way that the 44th was involved in. And he would be wounded at the Second Bull Run. When he gets here, he has that premonition. But still, instead of asking to be recused as an officer, he has the courage to go forward and fight with his men, feeling that he knows sudden death is coming. And he gets his men in line and he goes to push them out in a skirmish line because that's what he's been ordered to do. One of the captains looks back at him and says, "Good luck." He looks back to the captain and says, "Goodbye, Billy. I shall never see you again." And the words were true. About 200 yards or so, 20 paces into the fight, Lucius is wounded and he's killed. He dies exactly the way he said he was going to. Sudden and immediate. And his men are left without his captain. There's not much more to say to that. I really can't think of a better place to end a video about Little Round Top than in the shadows of Little Round Top. As you can see off in the distance over here, Little Round Top stands proudly as ever. I'm in the position where Pickett's charge stepped off at, and the Virginia Monument is just in front of me. It's a wonderful place. You should really take care of it and help them here at the park every time you come. Stay on the trails that they've designated for you and do your best to be good stewards of the history out here and the preservation and the money that's put into this place. I hope you enjoyed the tour of Little Round Top, and I hope you make your way out here and check it out for yourself. But if not, hopefully this gave you everything you needed. Till next time, it's History with Waffles.